One. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Solution Club. At the beginning of the new world meets the conversation. And welcome back, Diana. And we're going to now give a concise sort of synthesis / summary of what we've been working on. And I would break it down in the following terms, and I invite everyone to jump in and, stone soup style, add to the synthesis, including yourself, Diana, because you've been in so many dozens of hours of transformational conversation. But imagine that there's 3 phases to basically our objective, our goal, our mission: save, heal, and transform life on Earth. And for saving life on Earth, there are 2 main things that we need to do first, 2 things of utmost priority. One is feed everyone so that we completely 100% eliminate hunger and malnutrition of humans from the face of the earth. Done. Over. And the way that we're going to do that is by essentially providing food on tap in the form of a universal stew delivered in these bulk food delivery trucks that go to the neighborhoods, and literally on tap, open up the spigot and out comes the universal stew. And you bring your own container, we'll fill you up. Multiplied by the entire world, just done everywhere. So there's not a city in the world that is not providing universal stew. If it's a wealthy city like Beverly Hills, okay, maybe there's only 2 or 3 houses that say, yeah, I'll take some of that stew, right? The rest of them say, get out of here, go, go, go. Okay. But we're not going to stop until everyone's, even if it's some homeless folks, people who are homeless in Beverly Hills, we'll feed them as much as they want. But everybody eats as much as they want, all you can eat. And then on top of that, we add the universal green smoothie, like a kale smoothie with all kinds of hemp hearts and chia seeds and nutritious stuff, and also delivered, bam, you blend it up and then boom, deliver it cold out to the neighborhoods. And then fresh baked bread, deliver it hot. The stew and the smoothies are delivered cold, the bread is delivered hot, and that's it. What more could you ask for? Okay. And next, the other big thing we have to do is cool the planet through solar radiation management, which is the only way at this point that we have left to cool the planet in time. We're overheating exponentially. Now, interestingly, the key to achieving both of those are within the same, trimester of our goal: save, heal, and transform life on Earth. This is in the realm of saving, the most urgent, and that's why we're focusing so much of our energy on that. But interestingly enough, it is what seems to be in the 3rd trimester, transformation, where we find the very keys to achieving a successful 1st trimester, which is saving life on Earth. And by the way, feeding everyone and cooling the planet are not the only things we need to do. That's just the beginning, but turns out those are the key. If we don't do those, then we're just going to have mass death, no matter how you slice it. And that's simply not an option. So those are the first 2. Solving those first 2 probably solves about 80% of the problem, frankly, because once we've cooled the planet, we stop the methane release, we stop the forest fires in Australia, we stop the droughts, we stop the extinction, right? Well, it's more complicated than that, because we also have to end animal agriculture, but the universal stew, being 100% plant-based, takes us light years forward in terms of going vegan, going plant-based. And, then we just need to stop the wholesale decimation of the rainforest generally, and animal agriculture takes care of the vast majority of that. But then, there's other factors like logging of mahogany and whatnot. So it needs holistic treatment. But the fundamental transformation that is undergoing over here in the third trimester, transformation of life on Earth, is happening right here in these Zoom meetings, these video conferences, right? Where we're coming together to actually confront all this and deal with it and come up with a plan, right? So, you know, step number one is actually what's happening right here, right now, with all of us coming together and co-creating this vast network of conversations and organizing it in very intentional ways, such as, for example, how we're doing it here in the conversation. Intentionally creating a network of conversations with a single point of entry, the lounge, where we are right now. Hey, everybody, welcome to the lounge. Woo! And, you know, but then from here, pointing towards all the other conversations that are both in network, within our network, and out of the network. In other words, in other networks or just in other whatevers, right? In other YouTube channels, on other podcasts, in other blogs, whatever, right? So, so it's really the hubs, the lounges of the respective networks around the world that have the responsibility of connecting with each other, right? And bringing us all together into this vast network of networks of conversations, right? Because it is through all of us coming together in this way that we get to prioritize things like feeding everyone and cooling the planet, right? And then develop all the solutions that we need to make it happen. So that's the summary in a nutshell. Any questions, comments, additions? Jump in. Going on mute.
I do. I actually have the first question that I had that it came while you were talking about, you know, the healing of the planet. Do you know if there was any difference now that with the COVID-19, whereas with the heating of the planet, like did it make a difference that people stayed home and that they were not going, you know?
It's making a significant difference, and the difference is tragic. And here's what the difference is. Because the economy is contracting, the amount of particulate emissions is decreasing. And you might think that's a good thing, and in fact, in many ways it is good, but in the most tragic way imaginable, it is utterly tragic, and here's why. Those particulates are reflecting sunlight back into space. By reducing those particulates, we're reducing these basically infinite number of little tiny mirrors reflecting sunlight back into space. So more sunlight is passing through, so we have more heating and more evaporation of water. Just look at all the flooding in China and then just the nonstop rain and all that. I mean, it's in practically biblical proportions now. This is because of overheating in China. China shut down its economy. Now all the particulates, ashes, we all fall down. All the particulates fell to the ground, and now the place is overheating. Right? So it's very real. It's very deadly. And the urgency with which we need to deploy SRM, solar radiation management, and millions of square miles of the stuff, literally covering a small percentage of the Earth's surface. We need to get on this within the next few months, or it's going to be over. Why is it going to be over? We're losing Arctic ice at an alarming rate. It's almost all gone. Greenland is melting like crazy. Methane is being released. All these vicious cycles are just accelerating like crazy, and it's almost the end. Either we do this now or it's over. Because if this overheating continues any further, we won't be able to grow crops. And we'll all starve, except for the sociopaths who've stored, you know, decades worth of food or centuries worth of food in their bunkers.
So what do you think will be like a first step for people that are not like familiar with this subject and like, you know, me, not very much. And I want to help. I want to create a difference. Like where do I start? What can I do?
Yeah, so what I would recommend to start is to first of all invite everyone here. And then as more and more people come here, we can organize ourselves into breakout rooms where you have, for example, the basics of climate change, planetary overheating, and its solution. Give me the basics. the basics of hunger and its solution, universal stew. Give me the basics, all right? The basics of the conversation, this network of conversations. What's this whole thing about, you know? Well, you know, are you trying to make money off of me? Are you trying to sell my data? You know, what are you doing? You know, the basics of that. No, we're actually just trying to save your life and everyone's life. And here's how, right? So, you know, 1, 2, 3, you know, it's food, friends, and fun. It's, you know, ending hunger, cooling the planet, and getting everyone together, right? So we could have basic, you know, basic introductory courses and conversations on all those 3 topics that then get everyone up to a common level. We understand the big 3. And now we organize ourselves across the different topics that make up the universe of hunger and universal stew, the universe of SRM, and the universe of the conversation.
Awesome. I like that. I like that.
Yeah. So
There's
basically, yeah.
I think there is a lot of people out there that want to help and that want to make a difference and they don't know where to start. And sometimes we get limited just because we get on the how, you know, how do I do it? How do I start? So I think it is an important step to come here so we can meet other people that maybe, you know, to be honest, I don't know shit about it, but I want to learn. I want to learn from others, and I want to see that maybe there's something that I can do, you know, that I didn't know I could.
I've
Yeah,
seen you
that's
do a
it.
lot already, holding the space here, Diana. I think you know, like holding the sanctuary space, I think, is one of the most important roles. So I think you're doing it already, you know. Doing doesn't just mean physical, you know, it's spiritual and emotional as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Diana, what you're doing is absolutely huge. Absolutely huge. And I also, since we're on the topic of holding space and all that, we actually spent a number of hours earlier today dealing with, you know, an individual who's been problematic in terms of you know, harming others through speech and words and messages and way of being and whatnot. So we have that handled in terms of, you know, that person can't be here until you know, it may be a while and it may be never, but if that person shows up, and you know do you know who I'm talking about?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I
Okay.
don't.
Okay. If you don't, well, we talked about it plenty earlier on the recording, but anyway, well, we can talk about that after we're recording, because right now we're recording just a high level summary. But that's important to know, that we are handling folks who you know, basically break the fundamental rules, which are really simple. Basically, be kind, right? Let others speak, don't interrupt others, you know, and just be kind and compassionate, and really come with a heart, a generous and open heart, about sharing and connecting and working together to co-create all the solutions that we need, and to have the awakening of consciousness and the connection with each other and with other, you know, beings, and all the way to creator herself. And you know, anyway, I'm trying to articulate that, which cannot be articulated because it's just too infinite, right? So we have everything from the very concrete, how do we get food to people today, right? And how do we cool the planet, you know, all the way to the much more infinite questions of life and meaning, and why are we here, and who else is here, and how do we connect, and how do we have some big, you know, universal party, and what's the point of it all, and you know, all these big philosophical spiritual questions, etc. But I mean, it's all important, and we have to start with the basic: saving, healing, and transforming life on earth, right?
Yeah.
With an
I
intense
think
yeah.
sorry, I want to add to, like, in my personal experience, what has made a difference for me showing up in this room is that I feel that I come with an open heart and with the sole intention of cooperate and, you know, community. And I feel totally safe because I know that no one's trying to sell me anything. I feel that everyone here is just here because they want to be here and they also want to make a difference, and that sets the tone for having a safe space where we can talk about, you know, pretty much everything, and no one's gonna again try to sell you anything or do anything to it. Another part is like about the hunger. Yeah, because there's a lot of people in the world that are just working to, you know, many hours a day just to get food. I'm not even talking about um paying for bills or having shelter. It's just like people are literally working just for food, and that's something insane because, you know, at the time where we're year 2020, you will think that at this point many of these um, challenges or issues, you know, will be mostly solved, or at least, you know, and even though there's a lot of people doing something right now to make a difference, there's always something more that we can do to contribute. And yeah, so I'm very happy to be here, and I'm very happy that something great is going to happen from here as well. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Diana. And really, you cannot overstate the importance of what you are doing here by holding space and leading and hosting. Really, it makes all the difference. And welcome, Nicholas. Good to see you. Your microphone is muted. Your microphone is muted. There you go.
Not quite sure where I am. I was coming to talk to Danny.
Yeah. Oh, well, Danny was here, but she's not here at the moment. Hopefully she'll be back soon. So if you have a way of reaching her and inviting her back, that would certainly be appropriate. Anyway, and you're certainly welcome to hang out and be a part of this conversation.
Is this like a support group or?
In a sense, we are recording and we're also live streaming. Please know that. And you can request a pause on those at any time by just doing this or asking for a pause. And what we're doing is we are creating a network of conversations with the goals of saving, healing, and transforming life on Earth, including feeding everyone, eradicating hunger and malnutrition, cooling the planet through SRM, which is a whole big topic unto itself, but we urgently need to cool the planet in time to save life on Earth. And then the transformation of life on Earth, which very excitingly is happening right here through precisely this network of conversations, which is going to facilitate and support the accomplishment of the other goals I mentioned: feeding everyone, cooling the planet, and ultimately healing all of life on Earth, damaged ecosystems, whether they're rainforests or deserts or oceans, you name it. We need to heal it all. We need to clean it all up. We need to get rid of all forms of nuclear anything. This needs to go. And we need to go plant-based, and feeding everyone, the universal stew, is the first step in that direction. Anyway, so that's who we are and why we're here in a nutshell. And if that calls to you, you're absolutely welcome to stay. You're welcome to hang out and just kind of listen in, take it all in, and you're welcome to jump into the conversation. The rules are quite simple and few, and they basically are around the golden rule of just be kind and compassionate, be a good listener, don't interrupt other people. If you want to talk, just raise your hand and, get in the queue. Real simple rules.
I have a comment.
Yeah.
I saw a distressing thing on the social media today, and I know social media is not always to be trusted, but this seemed to be from a legitimate source talking about animals going extinct at like an exponential rate now. Very, very sad.
Oh yeah, no. We are in the midst of the sixth mass extinction, and the single biggest driver of that is exponential planetary overheating. And the good news is we have a solution for that. The bad news is hardly anyone knows about the solution. The solution is called SRM, solar radiation management, reflecting a significant portion of the sunlight which is falling on our planet back into space so that it does not heat up our planet to begin with. See, most of the conversation is, well, after all that sunlight hits the planet and then we're heating, we're trying to get, the planet's trying to cool off with infrared, we got all these greenhouse gases, that's way downstream. And that's a good thing to focus on for sure. But we can take it all the way up to the source and reflect sunlight back into space and cool the planet that way. That is, in fact, the only way we're going to get out of this mess in time is SRM, massive SRM. And we can totally do it, but but humanity needs to organize ourselves around doing it. And up until now, we've been organized around denial and keeping the economic engine running, rather than being organized around deep radical transformation to save, heal, and transform life on Earth.
I just keep thinking about the cows and methane. And I know that's not like, in the equation of like the ice melting comparison to cows. But what really draws me to the cows is how expensive those cows are and how much of a lucrative business cows are. And so, to me, it's like, the ranchers are the people that are kind of holding, this, because, to talk with a rancher about global warming and gas house emissions usually isn't a very easy conversation from my experience. But then again, that's what I'm wondering, how many more conversations do we need to have with this commodity, because it's a money, it has to do with money. And so, that to me seems like a conscious shift that needs to happen, because ranches are so vast in land space and cows are such a hot commodity, and it's such a there's so much revenue in it. And so, like, as that's what it just keeps drawing my attention to then help, create that mental shift of behavior to allow more, food grown rather than ranching cows.
Yeah. No, great points, Jasmine. In fact, our main partners on this project of Universal Stew are the good folks over at Vegan World 2026, the most powerful vegan community I know of. And so I put it in the form of a riddle, right? And let me first give some context. So the way that they've been trying to get the world to go vegan is through education and data, and even a lot of them go and do these interventions at restaurants and that serve meat, and in that case it involves literally shaming others into not eating meat, and so my answer to all that is a simple riddle. What's the fastest way to get the world to go vegan? The answer to my riddle: feed them plant-based foods. So we're short-circuiting all those conversations and data and interventions and shaming and education. No, here's the food, right? Universal Stew. I'm not saying that's going to solve all of it, but it's a huge leap forward, because as we put out this story about feeding the world, feeding everyone, and Universal Stew. And welcome, Charlie. Welcome back. Good to see you.
You can hear us, so thank you.
Awesome. So, as we tell this story and do this press conference about Universal Stew and feeding everyone, basically food on tap, as we tell that story, of inevitably one of the first questions that's going to come up is, well, what's in the stew, right? And the answer is going to be it's 100% plant-based, immune boosting, full spectrum nutrition from protein to fiber to B vitamins to you name it. It's all there. Universal stew. Why plant-based? Well, you know, to answer that question, here's Dr. Priya Naik and her medical team of experts. And hey, Deirdre, welcome back. She's connecting to audio. Anyway, here's our medical team of experts to answer those questions. And here you are, right? There you have it. And we've got a whole medical team that's ready to address all that. But it centers around health of the human, right? Including our immune systems, protecting us from COVID, and the health of the planet, the wellness of the planet, for all the reasons Jasmine mentioned about the overheating, the methane, the abuse of ecosystems, and the decimation of rainforests in order to provide grasslands and also grains to feed so much livestock. Get rid of the livestock, you get rid of all that. You get rid of all the animal cruelty, all the methane, the decimation of rainforests, the decimation of grasslands, desertification of grasslands, etc. And anyway, so it's a really holistic, awesome, you know, set of solutions that we've come up with, and a platform of transformation being this network of conversations evolving into a network of networks, a hyper-connected, super intelligent, collectively super intelligent network of networks.
So now I'm curious, like, so the challenge is to, right, basically educate people about the impact of cows and meat eating and, you know, the way we're doing things. So would it be a stage where it's, I guess, helping people to awaken consciously? So, because I feel like a kid, right? Sometimes you try to teach the kid something and the kid resists. It just has resistance because the kid feels lectured or feels like, you know, he or she wants their own way. So do you think, what can we do to awaken the collective consciousness where more people will realize the damage that the planet is receiving?
So
Can
how do
I
we?
chime in? Can I
Sure,
chime in?
Sure, Jasmine,
So
go ahead.
I think it kind like what kind of sets present for me is like bringing the vegan food to the rancher, like letting the rancher taste the vegan food rather than, you know, like, you know, lecturing the rancher. It's like actually delivering the food to him and having him taste it, and then through the tasting of the food to then explain the purpose of delivering the food, and maybe through feeding him, then the knowledge is a lot easier to feed through.
Well,
Am I
but
making sense?
you know, it makes sense. It makes sense. But here's the thing. I think the ranchers are probably the last people we're going to want to go try to market to. Number one, they might shoot us. And number two, you know, their income is dependent upon, you know, slaughtering animals and selling their dead carcasses. And so I think it's much more powerful to just take away the demand. And that's exactly what COVID did. COVID wiped out a whole bunch of the demand for meat through the restaurant channel specifically. And a whole bunch of ranchers had to, you know, like kill their livestock because the demand evaporated. So that's really the key that I see. But anyway, Diana, back to you. I think you were asking a more fundamental question. I'd like us to really respect and address Diana's question. And Heather, go ahead.
Yeah, I think, you know, people learn in many different ways, and some people are going to be reached in one way and some people are going to be reached in another. You know, some people don't learn from conversation. They need to be kinesthetically involved. Some people need to see a piece of art. Some people need to hear a piece of music. I think we need to attack the information front from all angles. Yeah.
Wow, I love that you said that, Heather, because I get a lot of inspiration through my meditations. And it was about 2 years ago that I got this image of creating an art exposition, right? With alive people, and it's very graphic, and I'm not usually a gory person, but the images came very clear, whereas was create this form of art, in a big warehouse where we change roles with the cow, where the cow is sitting cutting a naked human, like full of blood on the table, like very graphic, because I think sometimes that's the way to really make an impact, right? And maybe change the perspective, and then put a human, like, those things where they put the cows to absorb, like put a human there, like with stuff like that, and have the camera around. And this, again, is very graphic, but also like having a cow holding like a knife trying to stab the person, and like blood, and a lot of blood, and naked people. That's what I see. But I think it will create like an impact on people when for that. And I don't know, that just came in there. So.
It's a gate to open for the conversation, right? So we need to open the gate to get people to the conversation even in the first place. So that, like you're saying, I think performance art is very powerful. And I'm reminded right now of Vietnam. My guides are telling me, the songs during Vietnam and how powerful those were in that movement. So yes, it's important we're having the conversation, but I think you're right. We need to get attention as well somehow.
All right. Beautiful. So great to see everyone here. I am so excited with the journeys that we're on together. I think I'm going to have to take a little journey into the land of rest and relaxation, since I'm going on 10 consecutive hours of hosting and leading this conversation. Welcome back, Linda. Welcome back, everyone. Really good to see everyone here. So do we
Where are
have...
you, Jimin? Because it looks still like it's daytime where you are.
Yeah. I'm on the West Coast in the Pacific Northwest, so it stays pretty bright here late because, we're still very close to the solstice. But I'm on Whidbey Island, north of, kind of in between Seattle and Canada. There's a lot of islands here in Western Washington, in the Puget Sound, Salish Sea, and near Twin Peaks. Yeah, not too far from Twin Peaks. So beautiful mountains and water and forests and all kinds of good stuff. And we need to save it all. And we got to cool the planet to do that. And we need to feed humanity to do that. And we need to do a lot more of this to do all of that. And I just really want to encourage everyone to invite everyone to the conversation. And we'll get us all organized here, breakout rooms, whatever we need to do. And but step number one is join the conversation, because humanity, it's time for a conversation.
When do you all meet up?
When do we all meet up? We are pretty much in a mode where we're meeting daily, starting at 12 noon Pacific time. And there's two exceptions to that. Actually, three exceptions to that. One is on Tuesdays when we start at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And another is on Fridays when we start at 7 a.m. Pacific time and go for a full 24 hours. That's the block party, the Collective Intelligence Block Party. And the other days we typically start at 12 noon Pacific time And the third exception is when we don't have anyone to host. And so if no one's ready to host, then we just take a break, like if it's a Sunday or something like that. And we've just gotten into this 7 day a week or almost 7 day a week modality, but our goal is to get to 24/7, where we have people hosting, you know, from different parts of the world. Deirdre, for example, is in Alaska. So she's 2 hours earlier from us. You think it's bright here. Deirdre, you want to show them the window? I mean, it's broad daylight there in Alaska right now, right? Broad daylight. She doesn't have to turn on a single light, but they're closer to the North Pole. But anyway, so, you know, and then, you know, there's a number of folks who join in from Ireland and England. So the goal is to get to 24/7, right? So that humanity always has a place to come to join the conversation. You know, it's, you know, you could just think of it as a vast decentralized open source network of humanity coming together in conversation to solve our problems and save, heal, and transform life on Earth.
Yeah, I think, you know, what just occurred to me while you were saying that, you meant, is that, you know, sometimes we're driving or something and we get this idea, oh, what if this, you know, and you want to discuss it with someone, but you don't know who to discuss it, you know, with. And this will be a space for that, where if you get an idea and you come and say and share here, there's always a person that well, most of the time, of my experience, there's always a person that says, oh, you know what, I know someone, or oh, you know what, that's a great idea, maybe let's get together and discuss it further, maybe we can come up with something. And, you know, a lot of creation and things have come out from this group. Yeah.
That's exactly right. That's exactly it. You know, and in fact, all of the ideas that we're now in hot pursuit of, feeding everyone, and welcome, Eliana. Good to see you. Welcome back. All the ideas like feeding everyone, food on tap, universal stew, and the different solar radiation management solutions have come out of conversations like this, where each of us brings our different ideas and then we mash them up together, stone soup style, right? That's it.
Right.
That's what Eliana's talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Hi, everyone. Wow, you guys are so like into it. I jumped right in the middle of something really exciting.
Well, here's the thing. We're now 10 hours into this meeting. We started at 11 a.m. Pacific time. The longest break we've had is 12 minutes.
Oh, Jesus.
And the next longest one was like 5 minutes. We're just go, because we're so close to ending world hunger and cooling the planet. And the
Sounds
key to
amazing.
all of that is this medium of this network of conversations.
This group is on fire.
We're on fire!
I love seeing all these familiar faces. I didn't join very much last couple of days because I was so busy. But today I took a break and now I feel good. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna check out and see if people are there.
Well, Eliana, this is like the virtual Cheers bar, where everybody knows your name.
No.
Bah, bah, bah. And they're always glad you came. You want to go where you can know. Troubles are all the same. You want to go where everybody knows
your name. Thank you. So how are we ending world hunger? Let me give me the elevator pitch of this project.
Thank you. Here's the elevator pitch. So we're going to kick it all off with a major international press conference in, drum roll, Tempe, Arizona. Wah. Wah, 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 wah. Why Tempe, Arizona? It's a long story. But anyway, we're going to do an international press conference in Tempe, Arizona, where we're going to kick off the first Universal Stew program. What's universal stew? Imagine a very nutritious stew with like lentils and whole grain rice and potatoes with the peels on them, but appropriately cleaned and everything. Just super, I mean, the kind of thing you'd eat in a fine restaurant, but 100% plant-based, high protein, immune boosting, full spectrum nutrition, right? And imagine now truckloads of the raw materials coming in, right? Listen, if you want to buy lentils in a store, you're going to pay more than $1 a pound, minimum $1 a pound. We found we could source lentils bulk by the truckload. If you're buying 40 tons of the stuff, the price per pound comes down to 6.5 cents a pound.
I believe it.
Truckloads of food coming in, and you've all heard about the farms that can no longer sell their produce into the distribution channel because all the restaurants are closed. And so they're just, if you can come take away the food, just take it, right? Otherwise, I'm gonna have to plow it into the ground. So we're gonna get food in very inexpensively by the truckload. Bring it to these huge industrial kitchens in the cities that will prepare the universal stew. Cool it down. Obviously, you have to cook the rice and cook the beans. That raises the temperature. Mix all the stew, cool it down, and we're going to ship it out in these bulk trucks of cold universal stew. We're going to take it straight to the neighborhoods and dispense it by opening a spigot, and it's going to be food on tap.
Nice.
And the people in the neighborhoods bring their own pots, bring your own containers. We will fill you up. The woman who's got 10 kids will come and bring a couple of giant pots, and we will fill them up. And we'll be back every couple of days with more universal stew.
Oh, that sounds amazing
Stew
and delicious. Made me hungry.
Stew, I'm telling you, stew
I
for
want a
everyone.
stew now.
Stew for everyone, universal stew. And we're going to kick it off with the press conference, and we're going to proclaim the end of hunger and malnutrition worldwide. And we're not going to stop until the last corner on earth is covered with universal stew.
Sounds amazing. Love the energy. Let's make some stew and feed people. I'm down. It's amazing. Like, I love it, especially because that kind of stuff is, to your point, like you're saying in the beginning, and nutritious, and relatively easy to prepare, right? You just cook it, mix it up, and voila.
And cheaper by the truckload. Way cheaper by the truckload. Right? Who's waving goodbye? Is someone
Who are we
waving? Yeah, I've been here, I don't know how many hours. I can't even, I don't know. My brain's shutting down. No more screen time for me, but I love you all. Thank you so much.
Love you, Heather. Thank you so much,
Bye.
sister.
Good night.
Thank you. Love you, and we'll see you soon. Give yourself a
Bye,
break.
Heather.
Absolutely.
Good night.
Speaking of which, I need a break myself. I've been at this for 10 hours straight, hosting, right? And talking a lot of the time. So I'm going to take a break myself. But first, let me make whoever wants to be host and co-host. I'm just going to make a bunch of people co-host. So if you think I might make you co-host, it's because I'm about to make you co-host. And
simple as that.
Deirdre, how you doing? Are you going to want to
Oh yeah, I'm good. I can co-host. I thought it was funny because you said you did 12 hours today. I did the whole day after I took over from Sophie on Sunday. I mean, I wait until but I just made sure the room stayed open for everybody and people kind of came and went. So.
Awesome. Thank you, Deirdre. So who would like to be host or hostess?
I can be host until probably 11. So I don't know until what time are we staying open today?
As late as people want. I mean, the goal is to eventually get to 24/7, not eventually, soon, because the world needs it. But anyway, just as late as people want, and then just pass it. Then before you go, please make sure you pass the host to someone else who wants to stay longer, or if everyone's ready to go, just close it up. No problem. And I'll keep recording on my end. So Diana, I'm going to make you host. Could you please make me co-host? Could you please make me co-host? Because that way I'll be able to keep recording on my computer.
I'm gonna head out, but good to meet everyone, and maybe I'll stop in tomorrow.
Awesome.
Thank you for stopping by, Nicholas.
Thank you, Nicholas. Great to see you. Great to
Bye.
see you.
Nice to meet you.
Take care.